Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Over the weekend, the US state of California faced an unusual weather warning. For the first ever time, the National Weather Service in Reno issued a tornado warning on Saturday that stated that a pyrocumulonimbus cloud from the Loyalton wildfire is capable of producing a fire-induced tornado as indicated by radar. In this episode, we're going to talk about wildfires, how they're formed, how long they've been occurring through history, tornadoes caused by wildfires, types of clouds, and the unusual science that makes all of this come together in one unimaginably terrifying combination. My name is Sandhya Ramesh, and this is Pure Science. A good place to start understanding the topic of fire tornadoes is by first understanding what wildfires are and why there are so many wildfires in so many parts of the world all the time. A wildfire is an uncontrolled fire occurring in an area of vegetation, notably rural and wooded areas, and is, for the most part, natural. Wildfires are also called forest fires or bushfires depending on where they occur, and they can also include prescribed fire where areas are purposely set on fire in the form of controlled burning. Wildfires occur periodically and regularly multiple times a year across the globe. There are many reasons for wildfires to occur, including dry and arid climate and strong gusts of wind. Sparks can occur naturally, creating flames, but they can also occur because of loose power lines or discarded cigarette butts and other kinds of human activities. Sometimes even lightning can play a role, and this is considered to be a big wildfire starter in the country of China. Human arson and effects of agriculture are the major causes in places like New Zealand, South America, and Mexico. While the largest wildfires we typically see are the roaring infernos that burn down the canopy or the crown of vegetation anywhere, there are many levels or heights at which fires spread in wooded areas as a part of wildfires. Fires can spread subterraneously, where root systems catch fire under the soil and burn slowly for weeks or months together, causing what is known as peat fires. Surface fires or crawling fires burn low-lying vegetation on the forest floor, such as grass. Ladder fires are the ones that burn vegetation that is in between low-level ground vegetation and canopy, such as creepers, climbers, ferns, shrubs, and vines. Wildfires are not unusual. They have existed for over 400 million years, since the time terrestrial plants and shrubs and trees first began to grow on the planet, and really we can tell this from the fossil record. The very first evidence of wildfire we have dates back to 420 million years ago to the Silurian time period in Wales. Many species of plants depend on wildfires for growth and reproduction. Wildfire importantly returns nutrients from plant and organic matter back to the soil. It removes thick ground cover or canopy that prevents sunlight from reaching other kinds of vegetation growing underneath, and the trees that grow very tall very fast are the ones that are most nutrient and water intensive. So when those kind of trees burn down, they not just expose sunlight to the rest of the forest floor, but also replenish the soil in great quantities with nutrients. A lot of the times, the heat from a wildfire is also necessary for the germination of specific kinds of seeds that grow in these ecosystems. Snags, which are dead trees, as well as early successional forests, as the new regrowing forests tend to be described after very severe fires, regularly create habitat conditions that are beneficial to wildlife. In fact, it is found that early successional forests created by highly severe fires hold some of the highest levels of biodiversity for these kinds of wooded areas. Wildfires naturally and historically have been more prevalent in places that are humid enough to facilitate the growth of trees and shrubs, but face really long, dry and hot periods as well. These places, like forested areas in Australia and South Africa, and of course forested areas in US and Canada that we hear about a lot, also undergo regular controlled burning to keep the forest in check and also to encourage more growth. Native peoples everywhere have been setting forest fires regularly through informed indigenous knowledge through the centuries, and government agencies today carry on the practice, although they do so also for clearing new lands as well as for fighting other fires that are already burning. Of late, wildfires are of course getting more and more intense thanks to the effects of rapidly worsening climate crisis. Some of the largest wildfires in the past few years have been the 2019-2020 Australian bushfires, if we remember the news items that came along before the virus. There were also wildfires in the Arctic last year, in Siberia, and of course we were all appalled by the Amazon rainforest wildfires too, that was constantly in the news before the virus came in and wiped everything else out of the news. Wildfires, of course, have an absolutely terrible effect on air pollution levels. Previously, this was mitigated easily and naturally, but since the industrial age, that balance has been lost. These intense wildfires can sometimes release so much smoke that in the right wind and temperature conditions, smoke rises up and can form clouds. These clouds typically take the form of cumulus clouds, which are the kind of white and fluffy type of regular summery clouds that we see in the sky. Pyrocumulus clouds, which is the cumulus clouds caused by fire, can rise rapidly, and as they rise through the atmosphere, they also cool. So if there is enough humidity that these clouds are holding, they can accumulate moisture and then rain down just like regular clouds. They can sometimes grow extremely large and produce areas of oppositely charged particles, sort of how clouds create lightning as well. The cloud then forms what is called a pyrocumulonimbus, or what is commonly known in the community as pyrocb. Pyrocb was the kind of cloud that was formed this weekend in California, and these can cause fire-generated thunderstorms. Lightning discharge can also be seen sometimes in these clouds, and visuals of them forming over volcanoes often tend to be really popular. Pyrocumulus and pyrocumulonimbus clouds can often be seen in places with controlled fires and are a very common sight for amateur weather watchers. But fire tornadoes are some of the rarest phenomenon on the planet. In fact, we've had so few in history that only a handful are really documented well enough to glean knowledge from, and it's very hard in general to find information on this rare fire-nado phenomenon. A tornado is defined as a rotating column of air in contact with the ground surface and the cloud, and is often visible as a funnel cloud or circulating debris at the ground. A fire tornado is when a fire whirl, which is small temporary bits of swirling fires on the ground about 50 feet high or so, these join a pyrocumulonimbus cloud. Fire tornadoes are dangerous but are thankfully confined to rural areas, as they depend on turbulent winds, uneven terrain or land, and really high temperatures that cause air to rise rapidly, leading to the formation of a tornado. The Loyalton Fire Tornado Warning described the expected impact from the phenomenon as extreme fire behavior with strong outflow winds capable of downing trees and starting new fires. It also said that the situation is extremely dangerous for firefighters as well. Naturally, there were many evacuations over the weekend in the area, and of course, there have since been countless posts on social media with visuals showing extreme fires and fire tornadoes. Fire tornadoes or fire-nados are extremely rare. They're not well understood, and they can unleash a great deal of destruction, pain, and suffering very quickly. So, of course, they had to make a special appearance in this wonderful year of 2020 for us.